Welcome, Jets fans, to another scintillating episode of Gangrene UK and Hippo Jets, featuring myself and my co-host Al, who did not go to the game last weekend. How you doing, buddy?
John, come on, don't rub it in.
Good. And we got a special guest today who was at the game on Sunday. We have Tom, aka SantaThom, who we did a little video of Tom to the Hippo Jets and the Gangrene UK crew whilst at MetLife in the rain, drenched. Tom, we're glad to have you on the pod. How are you doing?
I am doing well. It's a lot of fun to be here, and I really appreciate you taking the time to let me engage in your banter and to talk about the Jets.
Excellent.
Don't be gauging our banter. It's only going to go badly if you're gauging our banter.
Yeah, Jets is all about the banter. That's the only way to live. But there's the only way to survive being a Jets fan, isn't it, really? So
you've got to have a sense of humour.
Yeah.
We should say this, that they're sponsored by Green Smoke. This is Season 3, Episode 5.
Yeah,
and I say sponsored by Green Smoke because it is Nick that tells us which season and which episode it is. We're never sure.
Yeah,
so it's good to have people remind you. That's good.
This is it. Yeah,
definitely. Because obviously I forgot to mention that, didn't I? The Season 3, Episode 5, even though it's in big letters on my pad in front of me. So, because I was so excited getting SantaThom on the pod, that is why I forgot. But
Nick is the brains of the operation, and he isn't even here. So, what does that tell you about this podcast?
Well, it tells you he's really smart, so he must be the brains.
Yeah,
he must have paid you well. Tom. So, Tom, a couple of questions. We'll talk about because obviously you've been to so many Jets games, so many. Can you just quickly recap how you became a Jets fan?
Sure.
All the UK listeners out there, because a lot of us UK listeners, there's a handful have been, from the 80s when it was on TV, Channel 4, and then there's a lot of new Jets fans who have just started listening, just started getting into the sport the last 10 years, 5 years. So it's great to have somebody who has been with the Jets from the start when we did actually win a Super Bowl. Yeah,
absolutely. I've been with them so long that I've probably forgotten more than I remember, but I still have lots of wonderful memories and others not so wonderful. But my first memory is probably in April. It was actually April 15th, 1963. I lived in Flushing, New York, which is near Shea Stadium, where Shea Stadium is, where the Jets originally played. And I was driving down Northern Boulevard with my father going to get a bike, and he was listening to news radio, as he always did. It seemed 24 hours a day. And a little story came on about this football team called the Titans, who had changed their name to the Jets and were going to play at Shea Stadium. And that's my earliest Jet memory. I remember turning to my dad and saying, Jets, that sounds pretty cool. I think I'm going to root for them. And he kept waiting for the news to come back on the news radio. I didn't have a real great reaction, but that's my first Jet memory.
Awesome. Can you remember the actual game? Because does Joe Namath sign?
First game, wow.
Oh, no, Joe Namath hadn't signed then. So
Joe Namath had not signed. Actually, the day that they changed their name to the Jets was the day they signed Weeb Ewbank to be their head coach and general manager.
Yeah.
Then the first game I went to was probably about 3 years later at Shea with a group called the CYO in the United States, Catholic Youth Organization. They would, take kids to ball games.
Oh, yeah.
And saw the Jets play the Bengals in seats that were, now you're moving, John, that were pretty far away. And I remember that Matt Snell was the best player on the field that day. And at that point, having been to a live game and at a pretty young age, I was only 7 when they changed their name. I was just hooked on the team.
Awesome.
And then
was your dad into it as well? Did your dad take you, or was it very much a
he was not. He was not a real sports fan. I don't think I ever went to a football game with him. He took me to quite a few baseball games. But, and then this was the mid-'60s. They signed Namath, and, Namath was cool. He was just this cool cat, and everybody loved him. And the Jets were the opposite of the Giants. Because the Giants were the traditional New York team that everybody loved. And, like a lot of young people, I wanted to love something that everybody else hated. So, I stuck with the Jets, and, we turned ourselves into a really good team. And Joe was everywhere back then. He had his Bachelor's 3 nightclub. He had long hair. He did the Noxema commercials. I don't know if you're familiar with those, where he's shaving his legs,
That's
take
right,
it
yeah,
off, take it all
Yeah.
off. And then you've got, of course, 1969, and we beat the Colts 16-7. My favorite player really was back then were Emerson Boozer and Matt Snell, and Matt scored the touchdown going off left tackle, the touchdown that preceded 3 field goals, and then we held off the aging Johnny Unitas, and it was. I was in the 8th grade, and it was just like the day of my life. And I thought, this is going to be great, rooting for a team that wins the Super Bowl. How often is this going to happen? Well,
not very
so
often.
far, not so good. And the funny part about that year was the Mets won the World Series. They were my baseball team. They won the World Series in 1969 in October. And then in May of the next year, 1970, the Knicks, with Willis Reed limping on the court in Game 7, beat the Lakers to win their first NBA championship. So here I am, this 13-year-old boy, 14 when the Knicks won, thinking, this is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm going to be watching this winning team forever and ever and ever. And the only true part is that I've been watching this team forever and ever and ever.
Still watching now, Tom. That's the
right?
main thing. You haven't given up.
No, I have not. And I've had seasons tickets for now 48 years.
48.
Wow.
And, I grew up in New York, but I moved to Maine in 1989 and still go back for every single game.
So you commute from, because John was telling me this, you commute from Maine every single game.
I do. I do. As a matter of fact,
how many states for the geographical idiots among us? How many states is that?
I start in Maine. I go through New Hampshire. Then I go through Massachusetts. Then I go through Connecticut. Then I go through New York, and then I land in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Wow. And you drive? You drive every single?
I drive. I do drive.
How long does that take?
Depending on traffic, it's between like 7 and 9 hours.
That is so hardcore commitment, Tom. That is
each way.
Brilliant.
Each way.
Yeah.
Some people don't use the word commitment. In my family, they use the word he should be hardcore committed. But it gives me great pleasure.
To put that into context, like you could actually live in London and fly to New York, to New Jersey. How long was the flight, John, to New York?
About 7.5 hours.
About 7 hours, right?
Yeah.
About 7 hours. So it's the same commute, time-wise.
So you're suggesting I should move to London? It'd be easier for me.
Come over, mate. Come over. You're more than welcome. Anytime.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny because people do, I must admit, make fun of me a lot for this part of my life that, that I spend this much time. But it gave me great solace when I met you guys coming over and the folks from Germany. And I'm thinking, well, geez, I might be crazy, but these people are out of their minds. So, misery does love company.
It really does.
Well, we need people to hang out with, because obviously when we were fans, Tom, we had most of us in the UK were all individual Jets fans watching it on their TV or listening to the radio on their own. So at least now we've got a group of people we can, share those hugs of I was going to say the word of joy, but
not very often.
Another word.
And how did it become the Jets for you?
Well, I'll let Al go first.
I'll go first. Okay. So I've always been a fan of NFL, American football, since sort of the late 90s. But what I used to do is every year I would watch week one, or I'd pick a team to root for, and I'd root for that team each year. And outside of the year that the Saints won it, I'd pick the Saints ahead of that season. But I never had a team, and because I never had a team, it was harder to get into. And then I tried to be what was the Redskins, now the Commanders, of course. But I tried to be a Redskins fan. I joined all the Facebook groups, all of that, and it didn't stick. I just couldn't get into it. And then I was in New York on a business trip in about 2011, I think. And I went to a bar in Greenwich Village, which is the Everton Football Club New York Supporters Club, where all the New York-based Everton, that's my soccer team, my football team. And one of the guys there said, "Oh, you should support the Jets." And the next day I was flying to LA as part of this trip. And I was in LA on my own in a bar watching the Jets game. And I something about it, I just looked at, oh, this is my team. And I just knew. And I'd spent years watching the NFL and not felt that connection. And the minute, literally the first snap of the Jets game, and I was like, oh, I'm home. And it really genuinely was a feeling of going, this is where I belong. And I can't tell you why. And then I came back to England. And I started going to the Hippodrome Casino and watching the games. And at the start, it was just me and a guy called Manny used to come along, and Jersey Joe, who's now moved back to Jersey. And now he's in Maryland, I think. But he used to live in London. And it was three of us, and we sort of watched, but we wouldn't be there every week. And obviously the Patriots were good at that point. So they had loads of like box fresh fans that knew nothing about the game. And it was like one or two Jets fans dotted about. And then 2014, was it, John, that you came back from New York?
Yeah.
And waved at me across the room when you saw my Jets hoodie. I went, Jets. And then the group was formed from there. And really, excellent. The way it's grown since then, and Gangrene UK getting on board now, 1,000 members of Gangrene UK in terms of followers on Facebook, and the guys in Germany, the guy in Sweden. We had Daniel on from Sweden on last week's episode, so it really has grown massively. But yeah, that's my Jet story.
So you started with Mark Sanchez and Rex.
Yeah. So just Mark Sanchez and then Gino. So it was all downhill. From
right, we punched Gino in the jaw, got rid of him, and then he became an old pro.
AK, and then I can never say his name. And then Kapali, I think it is, something like that.
Yeah. The guy who punched him. Yeah. He lost his job, and we lost our quarterback.
Yeah. And let's be honest, Gino played well last weekend. I thought
he did play well.
For Gino,
he did play well.
He has played well.
So I've got to blame So we're all obviously soccer fans over here, Tom. So I've got to blame my soccer team for my love of the Jets. So back in 1986, my football team, soccer team, Wolverhampton, because you always support where you're born, had plummeted from the giddy heights of the first, because you get relegation over here. There's four league tables. So in 4 seasons, we went from first, second, third, fourth. And then they had new owners who were going to turn the stadium into a supermarket. So in a nutshell, there was going to be no more team. So we had protests in the streets of Wolverhampton. So I was only 12 at the time, so I had a big, placard saying "Save our club," walking the streets. And at school, we had to decide, because American football was on Channel 4, just when he had 4 TV channels back in mid-80s, Tom, no cable. And we had to choose a team to support. So I thought, okay, well, my football team's going to get, relegated, going to be out. So let me go for the best. Let me go for the best team out there in the NFL. So we had the Jets at the time with 10-1, and the Giants were 10-1. But this is the 86 season. Both 10-1.
They lost the rest of their games.
Yeah, that's John's fault.
Absolutely. So that was when, and Ken O'Brien had just beaten Dan Marino in a massive shootout. So I saw that. I looked at that. I love the green. I love the logo. The current logo now, which has taken 20 years to come back. And the Giants looked boring, and it's like the funkiness of the Jets. Shootouts, good defense. I thought I'll go for them. Bound to win a Super Bowl, right? And then, as you said, lost 5 games in a row. Got into the playoffs. Benched old Kenny O. Lost that Gastineau game. Roughing the passer in the divisional round. Oh my goodness me! And then that was we should have gone all the way. It should have been a New York Super Bowl, that one. So, but I was hooked. So I got my stats. I got all my books, and I was doing the stats, and I love them. I love them as stats. So
the ironic thing is that we both became Jets fans at a time when the Jets were looking good, and then just plummeted.
Yeah,
straight afterwards. Both of us
Well,
had that
we
experience.
pretty much have the same story, just different decades.
That's it.
And but you're
Yeah.
talking about John, January 13th, 1987, the Cleveland game. I remember sitting at home making my plane reservations to go to Denver because I think that's where the championship game was going to be played.
It was a done deal. We won in 2010. Did you actually book your ticket or just looking?
We were up 10 with about 4 minutes to go. And then Mark Gastineau commits that idiot penalty, and it was a penalty.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
And the wheels fell off. We couldn't do anything right. It was the darkest. I thought it was the darkest. There's more to come. Who knew? But it was maybe it was Bernie Kosar's last season, I think, too. I'm not sure. He had an incredible game.
Oh, that was the start of his because they played Denver twice in a row, didn't they? That was the first year when the drive, and then the following year was the fumble when
that's right.
Ernest Biner fumbled it on the 1 yard line.
Ernest Biner,
yeah,
right by the goal line.
Yeah,
that's right.
He was good running back, Ernest Biner, because he went to Washington after that, and he played well. He played well. In fact, he might have been on the Super Bowl winning team because the Redskins won it later on in the decade, didn't they? But
they did.
Yeah, but you must. So where? I was going to ask you this actually. When you watched where did you watch the Super Bowl?
The 69 one.
Yeah. In 1969, in the basement of my home in Suffern, New York. It's a little. It's about it's a city about 45 miles outside of New York City, real close suburb. And as I said, my family were not football fans. I was probably watching the game by myself, or maybe with my brother, who was sort of a football fan. But an interesting tidbit about that game is after, there were hardly any video. You can't find a videotape of that game. But the Jets made a vinyl record of the play-by-play of the entire game, the radio broadcast. And I'd listened to a lot of radio sports as a kid because, like you, we didn't have a lot of TV stations and there wasn't a lot of sports on TV. And that was my most prized possession, that vinyl Super Bowl record. And it had interviews with all the players after the game. And
you still got that?
I think my mom got rid of that with all my baseball cards when I went away for a short period of time. It was, if I could ever find it, I would get it because it's just this great. I mean, it's a vinyl record of the entire game.
Listen, we'll put it out there. Anybody that happens to be listening to this show and has a copy of that that they don't want for some reason.
You have millions of listeners, right?
There might be. Listen,
we'll get it.
There might be a Colts fan out there that's got it that doesn't want it. You don't know. You never know. Listen, we'll get on to the Steelers game in a little bit because I do want to talk about that. But quick question, Tom. If you could, outside of the obvious, the Namaths and what have you, who would you say is your favorite all-time Jet player? Like someone a bit random that maybe nobody would think of.
Random because I do have, I loved Klecko as a player. I really loved Chad Pennington as a quarterback. And I know that's not a real reach to pick him. But, one of the things about the quarterback position to me that just amazes me is we've got this huge population on the planet Earth, and they can't find 32 people who can play the position and stock the league. And, Chad didn't have the strongest arm, but he was accurate. And, I really think accuracy is the most important attribute in a quarterback. And, had he not, whoops, I just hit something, been injured, I think he would have gone down as one of the better quarterbacks of all time. I loved Freeman a lot. Freeman McNeil was a great player. Greg Buttle, who ended up becoming one of their announcers as a linebacker, and as I said, Don Maynard when I was a kid.
Don Maynard,
George Sauer. So 60 years of watching it's hard to pick.
You've
It's
managed to
hard
find,
pick.
a couple of decent players in there. In 60
Yeah.
years of being a Jet fan, you've managed to find like almost enough to make a full of one side of the ball, but not quite.
Did you want to be
Yeah,
Joe
and I'm
Namath?
sure.
Did you want to be Joe Namath when you were a kid?
Oh, everybody wanted to be Joe Namath, and it's funny, the look that he went around with then was, in retrospect, was not that good a look with the hair, but everybody wanted to be, at least where I lived, everybody wanted to be Joe. Joe Willie.
John still wants to be Joe, don't you, mate?
One day. One day.
Yeah, I was also at the game with one of Joe's lesser moments. When he tried to kiss the ESPN reporter on the on the sideline. If you remember, that was a sad day to me.
When was that? That was in the that was the late 90s, wasn't it, or early noughties? That was I forgot her name.
It was late 90s or early 2000s. Yeah. And it was, I can't even remember her name.
Stacey Colbert, something like that. I can't remember her name. Something like that rings a bell. Something like that. Yeah. ESPN. ESPN.
But he's still, he's like Mick Jagger. He's lived a hard life and he's still around. So
yeah.
Yeah. Namath, I've got a signed jersey of Namath on a frame, so it's up on my wall. So,
did you get down in that down in Florida last year? Did you go to one of the games down there where he was?
No, I didn't get down there. No, because he lives down there now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So he always goes to the games. So, Chad Pennington. I got a lot of time for Chad because he was, when he was playing, we always went into the playoffs. It was just when he was always injured. It was just every other year he was injured, so we didn't go to the playoffs. But then we had an easy schedule because of that, and then we got in the playoffs the following year.
Playoffs again.
So,
and he had that one freak injury in like preseason. He hit his hand on it was a Giants helmet, and after he threw a pass, and it's like you just felt the season ended at that moment. Sort of like we felt when Aaron went down 4 plays into his Jet career.
Yeah. And Sanchez, when
that wasn't lost on me, by the way. The Aaron Rodgers' first game for the Jets at MetLife was 4 snaps, and Aaron Rodgers' first game at MetLife against the Jets is 4 touchdowns. That was.
Thank you for putting that into perspective for me. I hadn't looked at it that way.
A horrible reality, but that's where we are.
He finally engineered a comeback at MetLife Stadium. He just did it in the wrong uniform.
Yeah, do you know what? I kept thinking about the last season when he played the Pats at home, which was a home opener last season that John and I went to, actually. And he played really well in that game as well. But I think that was only 3 touchdowns, if I remember correctly. So when he got the 3rd on Sunday, it was like, please don't get 4. That would really annoy me. But apparently he's the first quarterback to score 4 touchdowns in consecutive games from 2 different teams.
Yeah, we are a team that has a lot of records set against us that way. This has never been done before in the NFL, but thanks to the New York Jets, it just happened.
It has now been achieved. That level of pain has now been achieved thanks to the Jets.
In front of your eyes. I think that Pats opener was the when I first met you guys. I met Anth walking around with the flag.
That's right.
Strapped around his back.
Yeah. Well, Anth is a legend. We'll talk about Anth later on. What I'm going to do is because I'm not sure if we even told John this. My experience of the Steelers game was interesting, to say the least, because I was up in Liverpool last week for some legal family stuff, which is where I'm from originally. So I had no choice but to find a bar in Liverpool that was showing the Jets game. And I'd messaged around a few people, where's the best place? Where's the best place? And I got told about this one bar. So my whole sort of Sunday was gearing up towards, 6 o'clock kickoff, 6 p.m. UK time. Make sure you're in that bar. And I get in there at like 5:45. There's nobody else in there. The place is empty. They've got Red Zone on, no commentary, music playing. So I've gone in and I've said, okay, so they're playing Red Zone. So obviously they show football, right? So I said, okay, well, the Jets game is on. I'm wearing like a Jets top or something Jets related. And I said, can I watch the Jets game? And I ordered a whole bunch of food and drink and what have you. And I sit down and it ticks over 6 o'clock and the game starts, but I'm still on Red Zone. And then the game is 10 minutes in, I'm still on Red Zone. And I've gone up to the bar a few times and I've gone, can you switch it over? There's literally nobody else in there. I still don't even have commentary of Red Zone. I've just got the image of Red Zone and some weird music playing over the background. So by the time I've eaten my food, they still haven't put it on. I'm still the only one in the bar. So I left and I went to a couple of other different places that I Googled where to watch NFL in Liverpool, and I ran around for pretty much the whole of the first half. Liverpool trying to find a bar showing it, failed, and ended up watching the second half on a dodgy feed on my phone on a bus back to my hotel, and then the last quarter in my hotel also on a dodgy feed on my phone. So my experience on Sunday
not doing that one again,
bad.
are you?
Yeah, it was. Well, it was just, I was really disappointed because Liverpool's my hometown, right? And you want to be proud of your hometown. I wanted to go back and rave about this awesome bar in my hometown where you can watch NFL. I didn't find one.
So was it just bad luck, or is it just not that popular?
Well, there's probably Liverpool's one of those cities where sport, but specifically football, is like a religion up there, right? So so any other sport is very much, they like their boxing in Liverpool, weirdly, and then they like football, and golf is quite popular as well. But it's just football. So the minute you say, "Oh, have you got the?" It doesn't matter whether it's baseball, basketball, rugby, anything. The minute you say, "Have you got this game?" They'll look at you and go, "What? Another sport? There's another sport in the world other than, I don't understand." So it's a little bit of that, but but I still expected to be able to go into a bar where I was the only guy in there, and they had Red Zone on already, and be able to find people that could work a remote control. But apparently the people in that bar didn't know how to work the remote control. So
that was not in their skill set.
It was not. They know how to pull a pint. They know how to serve food, but they can't work a remote control. So they're still working on some of their basic human skills, apparently. But there we go. But the game itself. Do you know what? I quite enjoyed it. The Jets were fun to watch, right?
They were. I mean, I must admit, I had no idea what to expect from Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I'd known, there's a psychological toll, I think, going from one team to another team to another third team in a 2-year period.
Yeah.
But I thought he played a great game. He reminded me a little, I'd watched Jalen Hurts the Thursday night game, and he does not throw the ball downfield that much. They have a strong run game. They dink and dunk with 5 and 10 yard passes, and they look to take their shot when they can. And that's exactly what Justin did. I loved that he featured, talk about favorite players. I love Breece Hall. All this talk about trading Breece Hall over the spring was just killing me, because this guy, I think, is a top 5 running back in the league when he's healthy. And he came out of the gates going off the left side, picking up consistently 8, 10, 12, 15 yards. They took a shot to Garrett, so he can get the ball downfield.
Yeah.
They played great, but the hard thing for me is, as a Jet fan, you're sitting there and you're going, this is going great. What's going to go wrong?
Yeah.
And so Green Bay, the Steelers, who I can't stand because they're, well, John, you were there. Half the stadium was Steelers fans. It was awful.
Especially where we were sitting on level 1. They were like dotted around everywhere
with the terrible towels.
With the
little yellow
towels.
Yeah, which get in your way. And then the Jets gave out those stupid flags, which get in your way too.
Yeah.
Hard to see, but if I were just a pure fan, it would have been a great game to watch. But I sort of feel like Aaron Glenn after the game, that there are no moral victories. You got to win that game.
Yeah,
and he's right, game.
and that actually made me feel. That actually calmed me down, because I was watching it and I think it was at halftime when one of the stats came up and it had turnovers 0-0, and at that point I knew at some point that's going to go. There's going to be one turnover in the game, right? And that turnover is going to be decisive. And the Steelers really just stayed in it for as long as possible, and then that one turnover, and of course
Gibson
turnover goes against us.
Cost him his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that really struck me at the game, John, you were there. There were a couple non-calls, and I hate to point to the refs, but there was an obvious grounding by Rodgers early in the first half, where he just threw to the right side. There was nobody within 10 yards. He was not outside the tackle. And then Fields was just leveled on a pass.
Yeah, another one you're
right in front of the Pittsburgh sideline. And they don't call it. And my, people around me going, well, he's a running quarterback. I said, he's not a running quarterback when he's throwing a pass.
Yeah.
And then there were twice in the game that the refs came out and said the call was against the Jets, and they had to correct themselves.
That's right. Yeah.
And say
and Garrett Wilson, one of them, wasn't it? And then.
Yeah. It was like the default is the penalties on the Jets.
It is always the default. As a Jets fan, you've seen it all, and I've been to that stadium a lot of times. It's always, we never get any luck even in our own stadium. We've got no chance outside our stadium, but even in our stadium, it's just, I'm trying to recall the luckiest. Oh, I'll tell you what, there was one lucky call we had, and I was there. It was opening day when Geno Smith was our quarterback we played Tampa Bay, and it was a nice sunny day, and opening day is always the best. 2013 or whatever. It must have been the year that Sanchez got knocked out by your boy Ike Empelara, and Gino.
Great attempt at the name, John.
It's good. It was a good attempt, wasn't it? Yeah. And we were losing. It was like 17-16, and it was like not again. We had it in the bag, and I think they just scored a field goal, and we were losing by 1 point, and it was like literally 20 seconds to go, and then Geno Smith. It was awful. Ran just out of bounds 5 yards, and there was a late hit on him, and he sort of flopped, and we got an extra 15 yards, which then got
when
us
he was out of bounds.
Yeah, we got us into field goal, and a bit of an opposite of what happened on Sunday just gone. We then booted I think it was like a 55-yarder, and 1 second, and we were so happy. It was so unbelievable. That was a piece of luck that we've had at Jets Stadium.
You get these moments where you think maybe things are going to turn around, and then they don't.
Well, that's why you love opening day. Why you said it's your favorite game of the year, because the slate's clean.
Yeah.
And who knows what can happen.
We said we had. I don't know if you remember, if you know Steve from the Gangrene UK group, Tom, but he was on a couple of weeks ago promoting the Leicester watch party, which happened here in the great city of Leicester in week 1. And he said to us he picked week 1 because it was the only week he was sure the Jets would still be competitive as a football team. To have a watch party while the Jets still weren't eliminated from the playoffs contention. So that just shows you.
But as I look back at it, I do take some positives out of the game.
I
really think that Fields played a good game.
Yeah.
The defensive line played a good game.
Yeah.
The offensive line played a good game. Our corner, Sauce had a phenomenal game. He was just I love that they finally put him on the best receiver and let him just follow that player. But
John's joining on his laptop. You're gonna have to turn one of them off, mate.
Twilight Zone.
There we go.
But the rest of the defensive secondary was abysmal. And
Brandon Stevens didn't have a good. It was interesting to me that they had Stiggers and Stevens both taking snaps at different points of the game. So obviously they realised, well, one of these guys is potentially, we don't know which one yet, but one of these guys is going to be the corner opposite Sauce. Coming back to what you were saying about throwing to, Fields throwing in general, I think all of us thought it was going to be a run-heavy offense, and it was, but it wasn't just Garrett he threw to. Lazard was a healthy scratch. What is John's just messing around. Aliens have not landed. Aliens have not landed. John has been messing with things.
I'm going to be honest, Tom.
This is not Close Encounters. This is the Gangrene UK Hippo Jets podcast.
The last 2 weeks, I normally set all this up. The last 2 weeks, we've had Al setting it all up, right? And we had some gremlins last week, and this week I've obviously been frozen for the last 10 minutes on this pod, right? Because I've been frozen on my screen.
So you're throwing your partner under the bus and blaming it on that?
I am throwing him
Okay.
right under that bus. I am throwing him right under the bus. So to any listeners who got screeched out there by the Daleks from Doctor Who, that's nothing to do with me. I was just trying to get back on. But I know I missed a little bit there. But that was some good points there. I'm glad to see Source back, because I can't believe
he wasn't handsy.
Yeah.
He wasn't, throwing the hands around and getting those calls.
He's had proper coaching from Aaron Glenn, who's like his mentor. He must have so much respect for someone who's been there at the Jets in the worst place ever, then got with Parcells, boom, AFC Championship, and we became a good team with Chad. He's seen all that, and he knows that, okay, I'm going to listen to this guy.
Yeah.
He didn't listen to Salah's staff whatsoever. I don't think a lot of those Jets players. I know the defense let a lot of points in, but I am so glad that we had an offense. And Justin Fields was the big question mark for me, and he played so well. He played like Lamar. I mean, Lamar gets a lot of credit, and I remember Lamar when he first came on the scene. He was with Baltimore, and their season was going down the toilet. Harbaugh had no other option but to put Lamar in as a rookie with no experience, and he just ran the ball, couldn't throw the ball, and he got into the playoffs. They got into the playoffs that year, and it's been pretty damn good, except for they can't win in the playoffs. And then,
but you get there, you got a chance. He's going to Elway didn't win until the end of his career.
Yeah,
and now he's in the Hall of Fame. So
exactly. Yeah, Elway.
Can I ask
right at the end. Right at the end.
Can I ask a question for both you gentlemen from a fan that watched the game on a dodgy feed on a phone on a bus and maybe didn't get the best view? Tell me about Mason Taylor.
He had one pass he only had one pass played. The shock was that Jeremy
targeted.
Played.
He only got
Ruckert started.
Stats here: 1 target, 1 catch, 20 yards.
1 catch. Well,
it was a nice play. I love the tight end position because I think you watch football. The tight end is always open across the middle of the field. Unfortunately, their blocking scores were abysmal across the board. I think Ruckert and Taylor did not block well, if you believe those numbers. Ruckert.
Jeremy Ruckert. Yeah.
Taylor is hurt this week. He has an ankle sprain, so he hasn't practiced.
Who's that? Ruckert, or Taylor?
Taylor has a high ankle sprain,
right.
which you'd never want to hear.
No, that's not good.
But I have high hopes for him. His father killed us as a player. Until he joined us.
I mean, I've always got question marks about sons of professional players, because where's your motivation? He's had it on a spoon all of his life, Mason Taylor, and to get motivated. Like Jason Taylor had nothing. It was like, they had nothing. They had to really go for it, push the extra mile, 10 miles, just to stay on the team and play it to a dominant level. So this guy has obviously had the inside tricks from the father, how to succeed and what to do.
How hungry is he?
But he might, like as any kid, I've got a 5-year-old. If you start pushing what you love onto them from an early age, they could go completely the other way, and then and they might feel like so obliged to do it. But at least with Jason Taylor, the dad, he was passionate about it. So we don't, we assume Mason is passionate. I really want him to be passionate, but we'll see. If he goes the extra mile and plays with his injuries and stuff like that. So we'll see.
I really hope so.
I hope you do, Mason. Hope you do, mate.
Yeah. We all love tight ends on this podcast. We love
absolutely.
Tight ends.
And, at least he doesn't play the same position. I think that's good. That he's not following it. He's not going to be compared to his dad as an end. Trying to sack the quarterback. I've got my fingers crossed on that guy, but I always do. I always think we're going to win every game. So it's.
Well, we'll get on to that in a bit because we're going to get your Bills predictions. One more thing to talk about from the Pittsburgh game, which we're all going to bring a smile to our face. The number 1 Pro Football Focus rated tackle in week 1 of the NFL was a rookie playing against TJ Watt. And his name is Armand Membu. How good.
That is amazing. That is brilliant.
played against TJ Watt, right?
And he did not have a really solid preseason. He looked like a rookie in the preseason, but he was knocking people over. He wasn't just holding the fort. He was going forward and pushing people down the field. And if you can do that against Watt, and Buffalo just lost one of their linemen, I think, is listed as questionable for Sunday. I can't remember his name. Oliver, maybe.
Oh yeah, Ed Oliver. Ed Oliver. Yeah.
Yeah, Ed Oliver.
Sorry,
they gave up a lot of yardage on the ground to Baltimore.
Yeah.
So that gives me hope for Sunday. I just wish they didn't have a quarterback named Josh Allen on their side.
Well, yeah, but we've got where we replaced Derrick Henry with Breece Hall.
Yeah.
We'll see how we go.
I mean, talking about that, I mean, the Buffalo. I mean, we got back from the game on Sunday. We got back to to the House of Q in the American Dream place, and watched the games. Well, sort of tried to watch the games, and then got back and to the room to watch the end of the Buffalo game. And I turned it over at it's like 40. It was a 40 done. It was a done game, 40-25. I didn't turn it over. I passed out.
Yeah.
In fact, I passed out before then.
4 minutes to go.
John. I heard you were pretty much ready to pass out.
Yeah, I was ready to pass out. It's been a busy weekend. It had been a very busy weekend. So, and then all of a sudden, Josh Allen just comes back from the dead, and like that was such a lucky win. And my point is, they were dominated. Baltimore dominated them. Derrick Henry fumbling the ball. You what? That's crazy. That does not happen. Everything went their way. They had the luck. We had no luck. We had no luck. So
it's all turning around this weekend, boys.
I've
got my prediction written down.
Yeah. So
I've got my prediction written down.
+7 on that one, and I think we'll keep it. We'll keep it close, even if we could sneak a win here, guys. I'm very positive about it.
We've actually played pretty well against Allen. I mean, we've had some good games against him. We've mixed him up on defense. I don't bet because I've watched too much to bet. There's a reason the casinos own the buildings, not the people that go there. But I think we keep. I think it's a close game, and I give us a shot to win. But again, if you ask me the day of the game, I'm always going to say the Jets are going to win. That's another reason I don't bet. But
lost too much money on the Jets in the younger days.
Yeah, but truly, I think if we can play the game like we did last week and control the line of scrimmage on both sides, clean up the defensive backfield, don't blitz. I think we started blitzing against Rodgers on Sunday, which I always think is a bad idea because he's smart. You confuse him with the defensive setup, not by blitzing him. Just go with 4. He's not mobile. You don't need to blitz him to get to him. Allen's not like that. He's a big, strong guy who can still run, can throw the damn ball 70 yards. But I give us a chance, a puncher's chance. Take the points, close game. Jets 27-24.
Because 27-24. I mean, because last week we did everything well to win that game because we dominated that game until that one fumble, and obviously Gibson's paid the price for that, falling on the sword. Well, got kicked out, and that sends a message. I really like that. I really like that.
Well, it sends a message, but then this is where you're going to find out this week, because for some people will receive that message and sink, and some people will receive that message and swim. So what he's done is he said, right, this is my standard, now meet it. And there is going to be a certain number of players that won't meet it. So there will be more mistakes.
You're also going to have players who are going to be more concerned about making a mistake. I don't want to make a mistake. Yeah. I don't want to make a mistake. And if you play like that, you're going to make a mistake.
Yeah.
But
I'd like to see him
weed them off your team. We want winners who want to win.
Yeah. I think there's going to be some more weeding. There's going to be some more weeding.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. Let's get through the process. Let's find the weeds and let's get them out. That's what I say. But that being said, Xavier Gibson, thank you for the Buffalo game. Thank you for that walk-off touchdown 2 years ago. Like you will forever be a legend in my heart because I hate Buffalo. So
Actually, that's
thank you for that.
very good
Xavier.
point. That was we were watching it in the Hippodrome, Tom. Obviously 5:30 in the morning when we in overtime we came out of that, and we'd never been so happy, had we? How?
Yeah, that was a great day. There was about 7 or 8 of us in there.
The stadium was shaking. The stadium was shaking that night.
I really wish I was in that stadium. The highs and lows, the highs and lows of everybody in there.
Because you went from the lowest of the lows. I mean, when the anticipation of Rodgers playing that game, fireworks, and then just this incredible pregame, and then all of the air, all of the oxygen is sucked right out of the stadium. Chad comes in, does his job, and ties it late. And then Gibson with that run. There was a penalty on that wasn't called. We were lucky, but who cares? We finally got a call. But that game 2 years ago gives me hope for tomorrow because it's the same team, and we can play.
Oh, we beat Buffalo. We beat Buffalo a couple of years ago, didn't we? When Josh Allen hurt his hand on the helmet, so we contained him. So it never does really. Well, I say this, touch wood. He never plays that well in New York. I shouldn't say
Buffalo's the only stadium where someone poured a beer over my head. This was back when the Jets were good and Buffalo was bad. I was up at Orchard Park.
I've not been there.
Poured a beer over your head, did he?
I say, you want to waste your beer? It's fine. It's a little shampoo.
That's in Buffalo. So that's like that beer probably cost him like 2 weeks' wages. So my hatred for Buffalo and my Jets delusion, I'm going Jets 55, Buffalo 10, and I'm not moving off that mountain. That's what's happening Sunday. You heard it here first.
You've done a lot of research. You've done a lot of analytics. I can see
loads, non-stop analytics, which is my analysis.
It's not known how the statistician for no reason.
Did Josh Allen miss the flight in your prediction? Did he miss the flight?
He got snowed in. It's Buffalo. He got snowed in. I just refuse to accept anything other than the Jets dominating the Bills. And I'm happy to live in my bubble of delusion until it's too late. Listen, even if it's like 40-0 to the Bills, I'll still be calling 55-40 for the Jets right up until the point where it's mathematically impossible. That's where I am on Sunday.
From your lips to God's ears. There you go.
But there you go. So, the fact that we're having this conversation, that we've actually got a chance, and I do feel confident against Buffalo, especially start of the season as well, and the way they played. It's just, it's credit to the team that we played so well over expectations by far. I know the defense let all those points in, but that was 2 55, 60-yard field goals. One was a fumble on the 15-yard. I mean, that is what. So that's already. I use my my statistics now. Al, help me out. That's 13 points, just like that. Boom. You know. So, that's the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it?
The best thing about it was how they mixed it up. They mixed up. There was running. There was scrambling.
Yeah, he's my calculator. Yeah. So that's the real reason he's on it, mate, so he can do the maths.
The abacus.
I'm getting a bit shaky in the old age. I'm getting a bit shaky.
Listen, while you're on, Tom, one of the biggest things we want to talk about, we need to really promote the Gangrene UK stuff that's happening for the London game against Denver, because the stuff that's going to be going on is incredible. And I know you can't be with us, much as you'd like to be. You got some other sort of mildly important function happening. Yeah,
I've been told I need to be elsewhere. Yeah,
right. Yeah, but the tickets for the Redemption Brewery tailgate, the only tailgate in London that weekend, the only tailgate. You go to MetLife, you go to D7, and for some reason D7 is closed, or there's nothing, they're out of food in D7. You just go to another tailgate. You can just go along one. You can't do that in London. There is one tailgate, Redemption Brewery, the Gangrene UK tailgate, and the tickets are live. I think they've sold about 300 or 400 tickets already.
Wow.
And I think they're only releasing a total of 800. So they will go, it will get sold out. But you were there last year, right, Tom?
Great site. What's that?
You were there last year. You were at the tailgate last year.
It's a great site. It was a lot of fun. Of fun. Met a lot of folks from Germany and Sweden, and it's good. First time I met Thomas Steele. If you ever had him on, I don't know.
Yes, yeah. Well, he's due. He's
Yeah.
on the list. We've got a lot of people on the list. A lot of people wanting to come on and talk about them coming to London. What else did you do while you were in London, Tom, when you were over here? How long were you over here for?
We were just there a couple days before the game, and then we went up to the Cotswolds, which was
nice.
a lot of fun for a couple days. I took my son. My son, Joey, goes to all the games with me. He lives down in Jersey City. And Joe, was born in Maine, and he was born in 97. And I told him, you don't have to be a Jets fan, Joe. It was when New England, every this place was all New England then. Tom Brady was coming up. Joey would wear his Jet jersey to school every time the Pats won the Super Bowl the next day. So he was just
a lot of respect for that.
That is awesome.
Die hard. He took all my teams, but he's going to be there that weekend. And he was at the tailgate last year. And I saw there's a whole bunch of stuff listed. We went to the event at the Hippodrome on Saturday night. We missed the stuff on Friday, but it was a great time. I mean, I other than that I can't be there, I would be at all of the events.
Well, I'll tell you this for this one's for free. If Joey is there and he makes himself known as the guy you talked about on this podcast that was wearing his Jets top in school in Maine with all the Pats fans, every single person in there's buying him a beer.
Yeah.
Okay. He's not paying for a drink.
He's going to have 800 beers.
From that.
I might not tell him that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tell him that he has our respect and our love and our adoration. So Friday night is going to be at the Greenwoods in Victoria, which is after the Jets flag tourist walk, which is a lot of fun last year. We go to all the different London sites, waving the Jets flag and doing a JETS. We did lunch outside St Paul's Cathedral. There was about 30 or 40 of us there last year, John, you'd say. We were waving the flag. Awesome, and all these tourists who'd come along to take a photograph of St Paul's Cathedral and probably travelled from all over Europe for other random reasons
never experienced
to get a picture of St Paul's. And they had a load of green and white with the flag JTS in the middle of their photo.
Jets fans in the middle of the day walking around central London chanting JTS.
Yeah. Well, there was some holy day, some saint they didn't know, probably.
That's it. Yeah. So that was good. So we're doing that again. Saturday we've got the fun day at Vinegar Yard in London Bridge, and then we're on to another venue in London Bridge for the Badlands event, and then onto the Hippodrome for the After Dark event. So Saturday's done all day Saturday, and then of course Sunday morning, everyone's got to buy Joey a beer at Redemption Brewery.
Yeah. Joey's Redemption.
There'll be food. There'll be a DJ this year. My lovely wife is going to... I'm not going to be there, by the way. I'm on a business trip. So I'll be there on Saturday.
I thought you were going back to Liverpool to look for a bar. No?
Yeah. I'll actually be in the south of France, so it's slightly nicer than Liverpool. But yeah, I take off early Sunday morning, so I won't be there. But my wife will be the DJ. So if you see the DJ, give her a wave. That's my wife. Tell her she's awesome, because I don't tell her enough. And then on to the Jets' victory against Denver. So it's going to be good. So get your tickets.
What's the best place for people to look? I know I got something on Facebook. Is there a website they can go to get the information?
Yeah, all the information is will be on the socials for Gangrene UK. So you go on the Facebook, the Instagram, whatever your social media of choice is. Maybe you're listening to this on YouTube. There'll be information in the description on this podcast as well. You can go on Green Smoke, which is the London. By the way, you should go on Green Smoke, because Green Smoke, the guy that runs that, Nick, he does a great job of doing London recommendations. So if you're an American coming over to London for the first time, it'll be things about where to eat, where to get the best fish and chips, where to get the best steak, where to get the best, even if you're into America, like bagels and stuff like that. There's good recommendations for American food in London as well. Nick does a great job. So pop onto Green Smoke on the socials as well. And then obviously like and subscribe this video on YouTube, because why the hell wouldn't you? If you are 54 minutes into a podcast and you haven't liked it yet, then there's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. I'm sorry.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Anything to add, John?
I just want to add something about the gangrene tour that we just had, because obviously we're looking to do. When we get to the playoffs, we're going to do another one. We're going to do another one this year, Gangrene UK, with Hippo Jets. So we had a right blast. There were 6 of us, and we landed Thursday night. Watched the game, stayed up for that. Had buffalo wings. Friday we went to. Some of our listeners will not be happy with this next comment. We went to a Yankees game, Tom. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Sorry, mate. We had 3 jerseys though. They were giving away 10,000 jerseys. So got one of them from.
They're giving away Yankees jerseys.
Yeah, 10,000 of them. They did. So we got. So I've got one from my boy.
Sell them. Nobody wants to buy them.
So I've got one from my boy. Saturday we went. Oh my goodness me! Went to a college game, Rutgers, and I've never experienced a massive thunderstorm right there, and there's no roof cover, and we had, it was torrential. I took videos. It was like
that was crazy. I was driving. I was driving through that.
Yeah, that was great. The medical tents were just getting blown away into the stand. We were undercover. But the college system got this massive boombox system, really loud. So you're still banging. There's still a DJ was still playing, banging the tunes out, and everyone was still rocking in the stadium, even though it was like we're all undercover, and we were wet, and it was like really windy, but it was still party. So it was 45 minutes of that. Saturday night we went to a Frank Sinatra tribute band at Carnegie Club. So it was like a cigar club, cigar bar. So that was really good. That was a different slant on things. And then woke up Sunday pretty fresh. And then it rained. It just drizzled when we got there. Pretty fresh, yeah. Relatively pretty fresh. And then game day, unbelievable. Met all the crew at D7, D10 tailgate. And then met a lot more Jets fans after. And what a weekend, guys. So I strongly recommend 100%. The next Gangrene UK, which is plus Hippo Jets, is going to be this opening weekend or thereabouts next year. But when we do go to the playoffs
this year, when we get the playoffs.
When we do go to the playoffs, because we're going to get there, wherever it is in the country, we're going to go. Doesn't matter. It probably won't be a home game. It'll probably be an away game. And that was a question from me to Tom, because Tom, our last home playoff game was when we destroyed the Colts back in the day, when Peyton Manning's first season or something. What was
41-0?
Yeah. What was that atmosphere like? Just like in that before the game and everything.
I think we sort of snuck into that game. I'm not sure if we had to have a combination of things happen the week before.
That's right.
But no, that was 41-0. It was on January 4th, 2003 or 4, I think, and it was just it was great. We never pushed them around like that again. Yeah. But although we did have some wins against them in that 2009-2010 run
in their place.
Yeah, but we had a big win against the Bengals after that, I think.
Yeah.
In
the home playoff game. But that 41-0, that was great. I mean, as a Jet fan, you don't experience the playoffs a lot, and then to have a shutout against a future Hall of Famer who looked abysmal that game. That was a fun game.
Well, a big fan for Ant as well, who really, really hates the Colts. So Ant will be a fun memory though. Listen, for all our regular listeners, they will have one question for John and one question only. How was the run?
Oh, the run was the 5K run that I was supposed to go on, Tom. Well, I was all up for it. I even bought a pair of trainers from
Did you actually?
From TJ Maxx. Because I tell you what, TJ Maxx has got so much. If you are in America, any fans, they got so much Jets gear at the start of the season, so cheap. I'm talking, I got bagged up with the cheapness of it all. So we had T-shirts, and Walmart. If you go Walmart or TJ Maxx, they have got so much gear, and like $10 this, $5 that. It was brilliant. So, but to answer your question, I was ready for it, but unfortunately, Warren decided not to do it because of
Whoa, I don't
injury.
believe that. I don't believe. So Warren is a guy that runs marathons on a regular basis, and John is a man who couldn't run for the bus.
Okay,
And,
so
and
you
we're
threw,
here believing that Warren is the one that didn't want to do the run.
right. You threw Alistair under the bus, and now you're throwing Warren Thomas, who ran like a mile. He ran that incredible December month where he started at 1 mile and ended at 30. Come on.
Yeah,
I followed that. I followed that exchange on Facebook. You said you were never running, as far as I could tell.
I was never going anywhere, guys. I was never going anywhere at all fast. I was sleeping. I get no sleep anyway with a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. So I did a lot of sleeping actually. So I'm quite happy about that, even with the time zone thing. But running, nah, not for me.
Running
Did
was
you
never
like the
going to
High
happen.
Line? I saw you guys walked on the High Line. Did you like
That was
that?
amazing. Yeah. So we started off.
Yeah.
We started off. We took loads of photographs, wearing our Jets caps
Yeah.
and T-shirts and stuff like that. It's all great for memorabilia, because having a bunch of Jets fans in New York from the UK, we've never really done it like this before, and it was just great. It was just great to have all on the
Good.
same level. Brilliant, loved it.
Good.
Fantastic. So I strongly recommend, guys, just come.
Yeah. Well, we'll all be back out there definitely. John, let's do your John's betting corner for the Bills game.
Okay. So no, this is John's betting corner for the week.
For the week, yeah.
For the week.
Yeah. Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry for the week.
For the week, yeah.
So John does bets every week, but he doesn't do Thursday night football because obviously this podcast goes out on Fridays at 3:00 UK time. So Thursday night football will be done by the time you are listening to this.
Yeah.
Whoever you are.
Just give some listeners a bit of context. So I've been doing this as a passion, if you call it a passion, since 2017 because I like my stats. I just analyse during the week when I'm not working, the trends, the over unders, all that. Yeah, the game script, what's going on, blah blah blah. Motivation is a big one. So last week we were 3-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we won't go into the nitty gritty, but 3-2.
So that's 5 bets, and you won 3 and lost 2.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Al. So this week
The mathematician. I love that.
They don't call me the abacus for nothing. They don't call me the abacus for
You really
nothing.
broke that down.
We got that one in the bag. 1-3, lost 2. To any listeners out there who are a bit confused, out of 5. So this week we have got. Just start with the Buffalo game. I've actually gone for Josh Allen over 34 rush yards. So I think he's going to be. He runs a bit more in a big game, or if he's losing. I think we're going to keep it tight and we're going to play well. Yeah, he's not going to pass all over us like he did in the fourth quarter against Baltimore. We're going to look at that tape and we're going to stop. We got with Harrison Phillips in the middle, big Q. We're going to stop that.
Yeah, he was good, wasn't he?
And he's going to be, as you said earlier, Tom. He's going to be moving around the pocket, scrambling around, and then he'll see it. He'll do his Josh Allen thing. There's a lane, I'll run. And he's only got to get 4 big rig runs, and he's over his 34. And
which he'll need, because when they're 55-10 down in the fourth quarter, he's going to be running all over the place looking for those
he certainly will be.
open receivers,
He'll be.
He's going to want to make John look bad.
Yeah, he'll stop on 33. We'll stop on 33. We'll get an earpiece in. Josh,
take a knee to go backwards.
Yeah, take some knees. Yeah, there's this Hippo Jets podcast guy. It's like, yeah. So he's over 34 rush yards. Okay, it was 33. It's now 34. So it should stay 34. Second one, Mario Hampton, the rookie running back for Chargers. They play on Monday night. So he only had 48 yards in his opening game, but he was the only guy running. And Kansas City just gone. Their pass defense was atrocious. So Herbert playing in a Greg Roman run offense threw the ball for like over 320 yards or whatever. Went crazy. Q Johnson, Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey all had belting games. That is not their MO. They're playing the Raiders, and the Raiders did stuff the Patriots run game well, but then the Patriots threw the ball too much. So, but Hampton, they'll go back to their run game because the Raiders will concentrate on stopping the pass there for
Right.
opportunities, and his line is low. It's 55, so over 55 rush yards.
So we've got two over rush yards
Two
so
over
far. Our
rush
first
yards.
two bets. We've got Josh Allen 34 and Amari Hampton
Props is the way
55.
forward. It's very hard to win on totals and sides. Yeah. So stick to props. And then we got Detroit. They had a stinker last week. So we got
Yeah.
They
back.
did.
They had a stinker. I mean, everyone is saying it's all Ben Johnson. It's all Ben Johnson. And last week proved it. After one game, people are
All
saying
Aaron
that.
Glenn.
So Detroit are going to be on a mission. And guess who they're playing? They're playing Chicago. Yeah, Chicago
Wow.
in the dome. In the dome. And Chicago have got a lot of injuries, mid linebacker. And who ASB is going to exploit that. St. Brown, he's going to go over 65 yards. And if that
Another
goes
one.
up 67, 68, 69, take it. Yeah.
Take it. So over 65, but anything up to like 70, take it.
Take it up to, I say 69 max, because he's got a
So
tendency.
so far we've had over 34, over 55, and over 65. Is your next one going to be over 75? Oh, sorry, Tom.
Nobody in Chicago is saying it's all Ben Johnson. It's only the people in Detroit after the bad game.
Yeah.
You're a little shaky, coach.
Yeah. Because I mean, Caleb didn't play exactly very well. So they're only in Detroit. Good point. Good point. So Chicago should have won. They should have won that game. They should have won that game.
He made some questionable calls in the second half too.
They did stink it up pretty bad in the second half. So that's another over. We've got another over here. Oh my goodness!
Over 75.
I mostly go for unders, by the way, but these are overs. So Dallas, another bounce back. I'm looking at a couple of bounce backs here. So Dak Prescott, played well in the first half against a good Philadelphia offense, and then whatever happened with the thunder and the lightning, it just no more points, and it just went to with the readjustments during that hour. As you notice, there was no more points scored. Right, so he'll go over his pass yards, 246. They're playing the Giants. Okay.
Well, yeah.
I think we're saying no more on that one. When you got Russell Wilson as your quarterback, and he plays
You're
so bad.
You're not going over on that.
Yeah. So that's over there. 246, pretty low.
For Dak, okay.
And then the fifth one is a Lamar Jackson one.
We love Lamar.
Very upset guy. The whole team is upset. They are going to be on a massive mission. And guess who they're playing? Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland. Joe Flacco revenge game. So Joe Flacco is going to be like throwing that ball to prove a point, but he's passed it, and he'll be turnover crazy. He'll get a lot of yards, old Joe Flacco. So I was tempted to do the overpass attempts on Joe Flacco, because he'll probably be about 34, 35. I don't know what the actual thing is. But I'm going the other way. I'm going to go Baltimore. I'm going to run. Derrick Henry on a mission, because of that fumble, will just run the ball. Lamar Jackson will just run the ball. And it'll be under, which is the props I like, 29 pass attempts, even down to 28.
From Lamar?
Yeah, Lamar under 29 pass attempts. These bets are on Bet365, Bet442. They're the good ones to go for. But always have it if you are going to do these, because we're on a mission to get all Jets fans to make a bit of money during the season, so you can get your tickets for the playoffs to come with us, Gangrene UK and Hippo Jets, in January, so you can buy some thermals and big hoodies and coats to come over for the game. So we're on a mission to get you some money.
And go to TJ Maxx.
And go to TJ Maxx and bring a spare bag. Bring a spare bag, because it's going to fill up. And a lot of these hats. This was $10 as well. This hat, $10.
Yeah.
So
and you're going to need money to buy Josh a beer for all the wearing of Jets tops in Pat's territory as well. So otherwise, you need money. Good stuff. I think that's us, guys.
Yeah, I think
that's us. Hey, Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. It's good to be here.
We're going to get you to stick around a little bit after we go off, just for our technical stuff. But for our lovely audience, when will they next see you? They're going to see you. Where will they? If they're over in New York, where can they come say hi? What's your tailgate?
J8 mostly.
J8. All right. So if you're in New York and you want to go say hello to SantaThom, it's J8, the tailgate spot at MetLife Stadium. And yeah, pop
I'll be
over,
there
say
Sunday.
hello.
Maybe there. When do you? Oh, before you would go, so you drive down on the Saturday, stay over, and then you stay down
Yes.
Sunday and go back Monday. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice little
There's
way
a whole
to do it.
weekend.
Yeah.
A whole weekend dedicated to commuting around a football team that hasn't won a trophy since 1969. That's dedication.
That is the kind of Jet fan we want on this pod.
Yeah.
When you put it that way, it makes me sound a little foolish. So maybe I'll stop going after tonight.
Listen,
No,
we're two British guys that aren't even from New York and have found a team that hasn't won in our lifetime, and we do a podcast about it. So what does that tell you about
we're waiting for the glory for the next one. You see, when we do win the Super Bowl, Tom, it's going to be one hell of a party, isn't it?
One hell of a party.
Your show's going to explode at that point. You know, it's going to through the roof.
It's going to be great days. It's going to be great days. Cool.
And until then, we will see you. We will see you guys next week if you're down the Hippodrome.
Yeah, we'll be down there.
Sunday, I will be there. John, you're going to be at the Hippodrome on Sunday?
I'll be there every Sunday, Hippodrome.
Hippodrome on Sunday. And if you're at MetLife this weekend, pop by J8 and say hello to Tom. And otherwise, we'll see you guys in London at Redemption Brewery. And until then,
Tom, been a pleasure.
JTS, guys.
JTS.
Take care. Thank you.